All right. Bantamweight fight coming up. Adrian Yanez, 11-3, taking on Victor Rodriguez, a short notice replacement for Aaron Phillips. And I do actually have a play on this one. Adrian Yanez, really light on his feet. I love what I see from this kid striking. Very fast, accurate hands, big power, good boxing, nice head movement. He's got these really sneaky hooks, James, and he just rips the body. That's one of my favorite things in the world. When a fighter is intelligent enough to go after the body, I love it. You're just banking that for later. When you get deeper into the fight, round 2, round 3, the air starts to come a little bit more ragged. Your lungs aren't quite filling up the same amount, and that's when they go to the head. They start making you think about your gut, and they go high, and they put you down. I absolutely love it. He lost 2 splits in his amateur career. This kid could be 13-1 instead of being 11-3 very, very easily right now. And he had a super fast stoppage on Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series. Victor Rodriguez, like I said, kind of coming in on short notice. He's got a pawing left jab. He's got big, big looping overhands. He does have power in both of his hands, and he's a pretty good wrestler. I don't want to understate that Victor Rodriguez is a decent prospect. However, he's only 4-2. He's got 6 professional fights, and that experience is going to be a problem coming up to the UFC level. And on top of that, he comes out of the Alaska Fighting Championship, which the prospects out of Alaska just don't seem to cut it. And the only ones that do are the ones that leave. So like a guy like Jared Cannonier, he came down to train at the MMA lab. He had to pack up and leave Alaska to get to the UFC point. And this kid is still just not quite at that point yet. Now, he does have some experience with Dwayne Bang Ludwig. And that guy is the mastermind behind TJ Dillashaw, another coach that I really respect and love in this game. But I don't know if Dwayne writing up a game plan for you for your first UFC fight is quite enough to get it done when you're staring across the cage at a guy like Adrian, who's going to have all the physical gifts and all the advantages in this spot. What do you think?
Also interviewed Adrian Yanez for this fight. This kind of reminds me of his Contender Series fight against Brady Hung, where he's fighting a guy that just does not have the experience. I'm glad you brought up Alaska FC. I've been beating this drum for years, and people give me shit for it sometimes, but that is a promotion that, for whatever reason, they give the worst matchups for their fighters. Like, you look at Victor Rodriguez and you look at his last fight. Here's a perfect example. So he fought a guy by the name of Jared Mazurek, who's 8-1. You think 8-1 guy, that's a pretty good win to get you in the UFC. Well, let's look a little bit closer at Jared Mazurek here. Look at these wins that this guy has. The guy he beat to fight Victor was 3-5. The guy before that was 2-2. The guy before that was 6-5. 6-5. Like, this guy, they just, anyone that comes through Alaska FC is always a red flag, because they've done this notoriously. Jordan Wright's a good example, the UFC middleweight. He fought nothing but cans, and then when he fought in Contender Series against Anthony Hernandez, he got absolutely destroyed in a minute, and it forced him to make some serious changes because he wasn't up to snuff. And I think that's something that, and the reason I bring up Brady on the Contender Series is because that was the same sort of thing. Brady had not fought the same type of guys that Adrian did. Adrian was an LFA guy. LFA does nothing but good matchmaking. It grooms these guys. That's why you see a lot of really successful LFA fighters in the UFC, because the matchmaking's not easy. You referenced Yanez's loss. His last one was Miles Johns, a split decision loss against a guy that's already pretty well established in the UFC, and Miles Johns. Yanez, I think, is peaking at the right time. We saw the stand-up on display in his last fight. This guy is knocking dudes out. I really like him here. In terms of the price right now at -330, a little steep, but honestly, I think you could parlay that. I really don't see him losing this fight unless he goes out there and makes a huge mistake. Comes from another good camp as well. I got to mention he's trained under Sal Solis, one of the legend coaches in this game. This guy used to train Tito Ortiz and trained a handful of fighters as well. So I really like Adrian Yanez in this fight. I think Victor Rodriguez too much too soon. Give me Yanez by knockout in the second round. Get it done.
I like it, man. And I was going to say, if you don't feel like doing the parlay, I think inside the distance or by knockout is the way to go on this one. I do have Adrian Yanez locked up as the first leg of a parlay for myself. That's the angle that I'm taking on this one. Like I said, I think this is a heavy chalk card. I think we're going to see a lot of parlay opportunities, and I wouldn't be afraid to, damn near round robin these guys. That's kind of what I was looking at doing, is maybe picking some of my favorite plays here, and instead of just taking them in a couple of shorter parlays, which is kind of how I have it set up right now, I might just round robin these guys, because I think a lot of these favorites are going to come through, and you're getting just under even money parlaying most of these ones, even the bigger favorites. So I will fill you in on who the other leg of that parlay is when we get to that point in the evening. Lucky for you, you're not going to have to wait that long.